Hello everyone, it's Mrs. Coach. Last week, we learned about the difference between animal cell and the plant cell. We also talked about the organelles and their functions inside the cell. And this week, we're going to be talking about the photosynthesis and the cellular respiration. Last year, we took a little uh, take a look at the photosynthesis in the energy in the ecosystem topic. As you guys know, photosynthesis is a process where the plants are using the sun's energy to make food. Okay, so this week we are going to be talking about a little bit deeper what photosynthesis is, what's happening during the photosynthesis, and what the cellular respiration is. Okay, so we're going to be watching this Generation Genius videos. I'm sure you guys miss it a lot. And then we are going to be pausing the video sometime and then we will take a look at it. Okay, so please give your undivided attention to this video and let's take a look.
Today on the Lab Report, we'll learn that plants carry out photosynthesis to make sugar from carbon dioxide and water. That in cellular respiration, living things use sugar to produce energy. And that matter cycles in an ecosystem through photosynthesis and respiration. Hey, I'm Dr. Jeff, and today we're learning about photosynthesis and respiration. Adam, Caroline, have you ever eaten one of these before?
What? No way.
Yeah, I don't typically eat wood. Well, you'd be surprised because this is the stalk of a sugarcane plant, and we can use it to get sugar from. Watch this. That's cool. The machine is making juice out of the sugarcane. Let me pour you a glass. Adam, this one's for you. Caroline, this one's for you. And this one's for me. I get the most. I did the work. Great. Let's try it. Cheers. Cheers.
Wow, it tastes like pure sugar water.
That's because it is. Sugar is made from the stalk of a sugarcane plant. If we were able to evaporate all of the water in here, we would be left with sugar crystals like these. Wait, what? How does a...
So, how is this possible to make the sugar? Let me grab my pen. If I can, yes. So, how am I going to make sugar out of sugar cane? First, they extract the water from the sugar plant, the cane plant, and now evaporation. If you guys remember from the water cycle, or the how we learn about we had these rivers and the water evaporate all the way at the top, and then we got the rest of it is like precipitation, condensation. So evaporation starts when the liquid starts to boil and the whatever left and the behind makes this guy. That's how you um, get the sugar out of sugar cane. Okay, let's continue watching the video to see what they're about to say.
plant make all this sugar? Through photosynthesis.
I remember that photosynthesis is the process that plants use to convert water and carbon dioxide into sugar.
Okay, let's take a look at this paragraph. Photosynthesis. We learned about this last week. It's the process that plants use to convert water and carbon dioxide into sugar and oxygen gas. So plants needs carbon dioxide and water. The plant is getting the carbon dioxide from the air, apparently, and the water is coming from when you guys water it. You don't have to water it. They can use the, groundwater or rainwater to make food. And then they have to have this kicking. They have to get this kick to their react. So this whole process has to start with the energy that is called the sun's energy. And then they're going to turn that into magically to sugar and oxygen where we need the most. Okay, sugar could be anything. It's not like we're talking about the real sugar. It's called the glucose. Okay, this glucose could be something that helps the animals to survive because they are eating the plants, and the oxygen is the one that we breathe in. We have to have oxygen, otherwise we'll basically die. Okay, let's continue watching the video.
To do this, plants use energy from the sun.
That's exactly right. During photosynthesis, light energy from the sun is converted into chemical energy that's stored in sugar molecules.
But how can sugar be made from just carbon dioxide and water?
Through a chemical reaction. Let me show you a ball and stick model to better understand. Here is the full reaction of photosynthesis. Take a look.
Oh boy, this looks complicated.
It's really not. Let's walk through it. Go ahead.
These are 6 carbon dioxide molecules. They consist of 1 carbon atom connected to 2 oxygen atoms. In real life, it's a gas.
Oh, so that means that the 6 molecules next to it are water molecules, which are made of 1 oxygen atom and 2 hydrogen atoms.
That's right. And then, using energy from the sun, these molecules are regrouped into sugar, which has 6 carbon atoms, 12 hydrogens, and 6 oxygen. And it also forms 6 molecules of oxygen gas.
That's why they say that plants make oxygen for us to breathe.
It's a product of photosynthesis.
Exactly. Carbon dioxide and water are the reactants, and sugar and oxygen are the products. Notice that the number of...
So every time when we're talking about a chemical reaction, you have to have the reactants and the products. That's when you put in, that's where you get. Okay? You have to put carbon dioxide and water to get sugar molecules and oxygen. That's what we need to breathe. Let's continue watching.
Each type of atom on each side of the reaction is the same.
Right.
No, really. There are 6 carbon atoms on this side and 6 carbon atoms on this side.
That's because in a chemical reaction, atoms are just regrouped. You don't create or destroy them.
Where in the plant does photosynthesis happen?
To learn that, let's look in a microscope.
Microscope.
Caroline, take a look at these cells from a leaf. What do you notice?
They're full of little green balls.
Yes, those are called chloroplasts, the part of the plant cell where photosynthesis happens.
Remember, one of the main organelles that the plant cells has is the chloroplast, where the plant cells where photosynthesis happens.
They are green because they have green chlorophyll molecules inside, which are used to absorb sunlight. And inside this beaker is an aquatic plant. It's using light to carry out photosynthesis in each of its cells. Since it's growing underwater, we should be able to see any gas it produces.
There are tiny bubbles coming off this plant. The gas then rises and collects in this test tube.
Is all that gas oxygen?
Yes, I can show you. Here's a tube of gas I collected from a plant a few days ago. Let's test it with the glowing splint test. We just take a piece of wood and light it on fire. Then I'll blow it out. If this gas can relight the wood, it's oxygen. Let's try that.
I hope you guys understand. Okay, they're lighting it up first with a torch. And then
oxygen. So is all of the oxygen in our air from plants?
Great question, Caroline. Evidence from ancient gas bubbles trapped in glaciers tells us that billions of years ago, the atmosphere had very little oxygen in it. Then, about 2.4 billion years ago, tiny microorganisms that could do photosynthesis started multiplying, which caused the oxygen levels in the atmosphere to rise dramatically. Those microorganisms were cyanobacteria.
Wait, you're telling me that cyanobacteria were doing photosynthesis before plants?
Yes, take a look at some cyanobacteria under this microscope.
They're green. It looks like they have chlorophyll too, like we saw in the chloroplast of the plants.
Yes, another type of organism that does photosynthesis is phytoplankton. They float around in the ocean. Take a look at this world map, which shows where oxygen is produced.
It looks like a lot of it comes from the ocean.
It's estimated that half of the oxygen in the atmosphere comes from cyanobacteria and plankton in the ocean. The other half come from plants on land.
Wow, so humans really do need plants and microorganisms to breathe.
But do all of these organisms produce sugar and oxygen, especially for us?
They don't make sugar and oxygen for us. They make it for themselves. For example, plants store sugar as an energy source to use later. Now let's learn about how they can release that stored energy. Cells can release energy stored in sugar through a process called cellular respiration.
How much energy could there be in sugar?
A lot. I can show you by burning it. For example, these marshmallows are made mostly of sugar, and over here is liquid oxygen. Sugar does burn, but not very fast. Watch. It's burning because there's oxygen in the air. Now watch what happens when we add more oxygen by pouring liquid oxygen on top.
That was cool.
So if you guys understand this part, when there is oxygen, there's always fire. Okay, so you can light up things with an oxygen. So that's why they're saying like don't use the torch or the lighter if there's more oxygen available in the area. It's gonna burn up the entire place. Okay, so that's what's happening here. You have the marshmallow. You have a little bit of oxygen in the air. It makes the marshmallow start burning or catching on fire. But when you add more oxygen into it, it's gonna make a huge fire. Okay, that's what's happening here.
Whoa! It burns fast.
All of that energy came from the sugar?
Yes, the sugar reacted with oxygen to create carbon dioxide and water. It also released a lot of energy, so much that it cracked the glass. To better understand this, let's look back at our ball and stick model of photosynthesis. Remember that cellular respiration is when sugar is broken down into water and carbon dioxide.
Wait a second. Say that again.
What? Okay. I said, remember that in cellular respiration, sugar is broken down into water and carbon dioxide.
So in this sentence, as you can realize, and then they realize too, he says something reversed, like something opposite. So basically, if we have photosynthesis here, the cellular respiration would be the opposite version of this reaction, okay? And that way, photosynthesis, remember, photosynthesis had the reactant and the product, right? Reactants were carbon dioxide and water, and the sugar and oxygen is the products. In the cellular respiration, this was the photosynthesis. In the cellular respiration, we have the reactants of them too, and the products are carbon dioxide and water. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Let's continue watching the video.
That's it! The reaction is already right in front of us. It's the exact opposite of photosynthesis.
Yeah, look, oxygen plus sugar makes water and carbon dioxide.
And just like before, we just regrouped the atoms and kept the total number the same.
Where does respiration happen in the cells?
In a part of the cell called the mitochondria, also called the powerhouse of the cell. It's a small membrane-bound area where sugar is broken down to release energy.
So, cellular respiration explains why humans breathe in oxygen and breathe out carbon dioxide.
Right, let's do a demonstration to show that. The purple dye in this water will turn clear if carbon dioxide is bubbled through it. So, just take your straws, put it into the liquid, and we'll blow bubbles. Whoever makes it turn clear first wins. Ready, set, blow. Hey, you did it. You lost.
Well, I guess we're all alive and making carbon dioxide.
Right? I'm still caught up on the fact that photosynthesis and respiration are the same overall reactions, just backwards.
That's the coolest part. Now let's explore why that's so important. As you notice, the products of one reaction are the reactants of the other. This diagram will help you understand. On top is a chloroplast, and on the bottom is a mitochondria.
Photosynthesis happens in the chloroplast, where carbon dioxide and water is used to make sugar and oxygen.
And respiration happens in the mitochondria, where sugar and oxygen is converted to carbon dioxide and water.
Which can then be used by the chloroplast. It's a cycle.
Excellent. These two processes work together inside a plant cell. That's why we teach both in the same lesson. Now try to explain how energy flows in this diagram.
In the chloroplast, light energy from the sun is converted to chemical energy stored in sugar.
Then, the cell releases that chemical energy during cellular respiration. Some of the energy is used for cell processes and ultimately becomes heat.
So while matter cycles, energy flows one way. This process happens on a bigger scale too. Let's replace the chloroplast with plants and the mitochondria with animals. Try to walk through it again.
It's still the same concept. Plants make sugar and oxygen, which animals use.
And animals make water and carbon dioxide that plants use.
And none of this would be possible without photosynthesis. That's why I think that photosynthesis is the most important chemical reaction on Earth. In fact, we're gonna do a whole nother lesson on its role in food webs.
Now, let's explore the kinds of careers you can have studying photosynthesis and respiration.
I think we can hold in that part. So basically, in this video, we learned about the photosynthesis and the cellular respiration, and we found out that those are all almost the same, except the opposite way of the chemical reaction. In the photosynthesis, we have to have a carbon dioxide and water to make sugar and oxygen, versus cellular respiration requires sugar and oxygen to make carbon dioxide and water. Okay, so thank you so much for watching this video. And when you're done watching, please go ahead and complete your assignments for 1116. Have a great day. I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.